Hey folks, welcome back to another Warhammer Fantasy 6th edition battle report. As I say, we're doing a slow grow, one game a month mini tournament. My first round is 1500 points, and this is my 1500 point actual game. The last one I did was just a practice. We're going for 4 months, and it's a 1500 point, 2000, 2500, and finally a 3000 point force. There's lots of other scoring as well, with some bonus objectives and whatnot. So up on this one, I'm up against a Skaven, and this is the Lustria Pestilence themed list. 1500 points, you don't have to worry about taking the special character, because obviously you can't have access to him, because in theory you're supposed to take him as a lord choice, which is Nurglitch, I think. But obviously after this, from then on, he's going to have to take him. For the special rules for scenario, there's a little token behind my Saurus down the bottom there. We get bonus points to our end score if we manage to hold on to that, and bonus points again if we manage to take the opponents as well. So a couple of bonus extra points there just to change the result of the game. Other than that, the scores will be done on painting and theme and whatever else, just for fun. As I say, it's like a mini tournament, just to get everyone into it. And with that, we'll have a look at the armies. Okay, so for Clan Pestilence, we've got a Plague Priest as a leader with a Plague Sensor and the Bands of Power. They double his strength and span level 4, I think. Plague Priest, BSB, Ban of the Swarm, gets an extra bonus for outnumbering. Festering Chantor, level 2, spell scroll and some bonuses. And then 20 monks, 20 monks, 20 Plague Monks. I mean, there's just a load of Plague Monks. So 80 Plague Monks with additional hand weapons. Most have got full command, one's got a Deacon. 8 Censer Bearers. 10 Frothing Giant Rats. So these are giant rats that don't need handlers, but suffer from frenzy. Another 10 giant rats, and 3 mad rat ogres. Again, don't need a handler and just suffer from frenzy. So on my opponent's left side, he's got his Censer Bearers there, in front of which he's got his Frothing Giant Rats. Censer Bearers I'm really worried about. I made sure my Stegodon is away from them, with 2 strength 5 attacks each, and the ability to cause an auto wound on a failed toughness test if anyone's in base contact with them. Yeah, they're pretty nasty. Unit of Plague Monks, and punks they may be. Plague Monks in the front there, and then another unit of Plague Monks at the back, and they have all his characters in, as they've got his leader there as Wizard, and his battle standard, of course, is leading from the back. In the middle, he's got yet more Plague Monks, and some more Frothing Rats leading out in front there. And on the far left of his left, he's got his Rat Ogres, which have moved up, as you can see, for the start of the turn. So my army list is exactly the same as the previous one. So if you just look at the battle report prior, it has my full list in there. And roll off for first turn, and I get to choose, and I'll give my opponent first turn to see what he gets up to. And he does a little bit of manoeuvring, just moves up, as you can see there. And his ogres also move up, which I've shown previously, up on the left hand side there. In my turn, I moved up slightly there. As you can see, what I'm looking at, I'm a bit worried about this frenzied. I mean, I brought my Stegodon, especially for this tournament, so I can actually try out some terror, because we haven't done much terror stuff yet. Unfortunately, we've got a frenzied army, 2 dead armies, and a chaos army. So it's a lot of re-rolling leaderships anyway. So I was a bit hopeful for my terror to actually work. It's the poor old Empire army which might suffer from it, but then again, they've got the cannons to blast my poor old Stegodon. Anyway, looking at this, I'm quite liking the look of the centre. If I can get a charge onto those Frothing Rats at the front, he's using them as a screen, but using them directly in front of his own monks. And with that kind of gap, there's a good chance I can destroy them, overrun, and get straight into the second rank, into the Plague Monks themselves. He can't flee because he's suffering from frenzy, so it's a good situation if I can get the charge off. My Jaguar Warrior, Saurus Old Blood, or Scar Vet, is running around just being annoying, trying to slow down these Frothing Ogres. Again, they suffer from frenzy, so I'm just going to be irritating, stop them from marching. They're well out on the flank, and I'm going to ignore them now and just keep them out of the fight. And my Skinks just got take a few pot shots at the Pestilence and see what I can do. So at the end of turn 1, we're looking something like this. Then on my opponent's round 2, it's looking like this. So he's just pushed up in most places, but as you can see, the most important thing is he has pushed up those frothing rats and his plague monks into what should be charge range for both my Stegodon and my Croxagors, which is perfect. He's trying to flank with my rat ogres, but with them inability to be able to march, it's going to be a hell of a long way round, and I'm just happy that they're out the fight for a minute. With a lot of high strength attacks, they could do a lot of damage. So into my turn, I managed to get the charge off that I really wanted, and both my Stegodon and my Crocs go into these frothing rats. They should easily deal with them and hopefully overrun and smash into the plague monks. And again, with the sheer amount of attacks I have there, plus the impact hits from my Stegodon itself, I should be able to pretty much run down those guys as well. Then just looking over the rest of the board, I've pretty much held still with my Saurus at the top there. As you see, my little character again has run around just to try and stop marches, maybe get a charge off if things go badly, and just move into a better position. My skinks have a few shots at the clan Pestilence plague monks there, and then right down the bottom, who are trying to flank ever so well, is the rat ogres, who are, as you can see now, well out of position. Over here, my skink boys actually have a few shots off at the plague monks and kill a fair few of them off thanks to their poison. Again, these guys are armed with bows, but it's actually blowpipes. Obviously, these are 5th edition models and using the 6th edition rules. The only time you get bow is if you take the Southlands list, which is a list I might be trying in the future. In the centre, I do manage to make mincemeat of the frothing rats, who very quickly fled, and I end up charging, overrunning, and just about cracking into these plague monks, as you can see. So into my opponent's turn 3, and as you can see, he's turned his ogres down the bottom there. His plague monks in the middle have turned to face the combat that's about to take place. At the top of the screen, he's moved his Sons of Bearers skirmishers up to take on my skinks at the top. In fact, I think he had to charge. I think I was close enough that he had to declare a charge. And I, of course, fled with the skinks, so running over the hill. You also may have noticed his frothing rats at the top there have also charged into my Saurus due to the frenzy. In this edition, there's no holding back with frenzy. There's no leadership check. I know in the later editions, I think 8th edition, you could take a leadership check not to charge in. This doesn't exist in 6th. If you're frenzied, and you have to charge. Other than that, you can see his units have just moved up to take on my Saurus at the top. Just waiting to see what happens with the frenzied rats. So the combat in the centre goes pretty much my way, and thanks to fear causing, outnumbering, and just smashing the hell out of these plague monks, they flee. Unfortunately, I don't catch them. They're +1 to run away for being Skaven. Outpaces my Stegodon. That's one of the downsides with my monsters. They're only movement 6. I struggle to get the 3d6 pursuit. I know there's a banner that I allow it, and also the chap who's hiding behind there, the old blood, can also do it thanks to his 18-inch move. But on a whole, army-wise, it's either movement like 4 or movement 6. On the other side of the table, I do deal with the frothing rats. They actually managed to get 2 of my Saurus, which is entirely embarrassing. I don't know how that occurred. Oh, unless this is my unit of... No, I think this is my unit of 20. So yeah, they actually managed to do 2 wounds, and I actually only managed to do 3. But thankfully, to rank bonus and whatnot, I managed to charge them off. Yeah, unfortunately I didn't catch them. I was debating whether to overrun with them because they're going to charge with the plague monks. But I was thinking if I catch them I was pretty much running into the plague monks anyway. But I roll rubbish and don't get very far. As you can see, that's where I am, and they escape, luckily blocking the plague monks. In my turn, I'm able to charge the fleeing plague monks with my skinks and chase them off the board. That's ideal. As you can see in the background there, I also managed to charge. There was enough angle for me and distance for me to turn around and spin with my Crocs, who charge into the plague monks there. And to give them some extra punch, I've also gone in with my Scarvet as well, with his 5 strength 5 attacks as well. Should do enough damage then to break them in one go. So I turned my Stegodon round just to face the rest of the enemy, and also probably to have a shot off at one of the Plague Monk units. And that's just the charge there of my Crocs and my Saurus Scarvet going to the Plague Monks, who had turned to face them in the previous turn. My skinks on the hill failed to rally, but don't get too far. The hill, I mean the pyramid, we're treating that as a difficult hill. In the centre, I don't move up with my Saurus, thinking I can get some flank charges coming up in a minute with my Crocs and my Stegodon, and with the support of my Saurus. That should be pretty much anything that is there, unless he gets the charge off. I'm just hoping the rats rally and pin him in place. As you see in the far side there, that's all my skinks who are chasing off the plague monks in the background. After the combat, it was an absolute bloody disaster for my opponent, because unfortunately after beating up the plague monks, who then ran, I then chased them down and overran into the flank of his plague monks, and it was a really high roll. I think I rolled like an 11. I don't think you can see him very well, but just behind the banner of his battle standard there's a little bit of red. That is actually my Scar Vet as well, so that's where he ran to. He's the one that rolled well far enough to catch the plague monks that were fleeing. So with another flank charge in, and it looking as it is, it's not great for the plague monks right now. So that's how we're looking at the end of the round. As you can see, his rat ogres are well out of any kind of stress for me. I did take a shot off at the plague monks with my Stegodon, thanks to his large target. He can see over units anyway, but didn't manage to hit anything. Everything else, as you can see, and we go into what is turn 4. So as we go into our opponent's turn, his rats fail to rally. He tries to manoeuvre his plague monks around his other plague monks that are engaged in the flank. His battle standard comes out. Not entirely sure why he decided to come out, unless he reckoned he could take on my Saurus Scarvet. His Censer Bearers charge my Skinks, who again flee, and maybe this turn fled off the table. Other than that, that is how things are looking. On the left hand side, obviously his ogres move up to get into the fight as well. And yeah, it's not looking too good for the armies of Pestilence at the moment. In the following combat, my Croxagores go to town and kill off plenty of plague monks, who unfortunately break and run, who get caught and destroyed, and I overrun into the last unit of plague monks with his leader in it. Oh, in fact, 2 heroes in it. It's got his priesty wizard and his whatever his leader is. Festering Chantor is the other guy, I think. So yeah, that's all in that unit, and that's his last big fighter unit left. In my turn, I move up and charge his battle standard bearer with my character. My swords all move up. My Stegodon turns around to shoot at the rat ogres, and my skinks come up also to shoot at them as well. In the combat phase, I actually my Croxagores get beast of the match for sure for this. One of the Croxagores single-handedly took down the Festering Chanter and smashed his skull in, and the other 2 managed to do enough damage for nothing to strike back, and we beat them and again ran them down. That jungly piece behind them is their objective that they were carrying, so I now have my opponent's objective as well. These guys have pretty much single-handedly run into every unit in my opponent's main fighting blocks and smashed it. And their overrun on this one actually brought them into the Censer Bearers, which isn't the greatest of fight that I want to take on. But I've got the charge, so I have, 9 strength, 7 attacks first before he gets to swing, so that should really knock back how many chances those sensors have got to damaging my Croxagores. And in the background there, you can just see my hero. He caused a wound on my opponent, but he was a BSB, so it was a draw. So nothing went on there. So into my opponent's 5th turn, his rat ogres have a go at my Stegodon, which definitely flee. That dice behind the rats there is just a couple of wounds on one of the rats, thanks to the poison from my skinks there. Yeah, there's no way I was going to take that fight. There's no advantage for me to fight that at all, and I've got my general nearby for my leadership to keep my Stegodon in the fight. His rats in the background there are still fleeing, and there's not much else he can do. In the ensuing combats, my Scarvet managed to beat up the battle standard bearer, so I managed to kill him off. And then my Croxagores go toe to toe. I think I might have actually lost a Croxagore against the Censer Bearers. They smashed them up pretty good, and they don't run away. Thankfully my general is nearby, just giving that little extra 1 leadership of 8. So in my turn, my Stegodon fails to rally. That's why I now have that character who's out is not the same character as before. This is my other character, who is my general. He's now running out there just to try and get that Stegodon back under control. The character who was beating up on the Skaven BSB has now charged also into the Pestilence Sensor Bearers, just to sort them out. And hopefully with him and the remaining croc scores, I can finish them up and round them up. And of course my skinks come down the bottom to take some pot shots at these mad rat ogres. In the shooting phase, my skinks managed to get plenty of damage done to these rat ogres. They might have also had help from the magic phase from my wizard, but he didn't do a lot as far as I remember in this. That's why he's not actually been mentioned really at all. He's just hiding in a wood somewhere trying to bring down lightning on people. But yeah, they managed to damage them up pretty well, so it's down to only one mad rat ogre. So, this is the last shot of the game. Up on the hill, my character and my crocs, who unfortunately had to drop the objective because I did actually end up losing another croc, which was a bit of a shame. But they managed to smash through the sensor bearers, run them down and destroy them. With that, my opponent called game. I just rolled for my Stegodon to see if he would have rallied in my following turn, which he did. And yeah, he was dead. His rats would have run off, and we would have all shot the hell out of his last rat ogre. So yeah, that was a hell of a game. That was mainly down to my croc scores. Lately, I've been wondering how good my croc scores actually are. They haven't done a lot. I mean, I usually use them for flanking and stuff. They've been mediocre. People tend to pick on them. They tend to get screamed off by a banshee. And I've been like, are they that good? But this game, man of the match. They wiped out 4 units of plague monks, including 1 festering chantor, 1 priest, and they did grab the objective for a short while, and they also wiped out a unit of sensor bearers. So actually, most of my opponent's army was wiped out with either the help of or just to my croc scores. So that definitely gave me max score for this game, and we'll see you in the next one, where I'll be going up to 2,000 points. I'll put a new list up for it. I think my 2k is not going to be that much bigger. I'm definitely going to take some salamanders, because I'm a big salamander fan, and see how we go from there. Alright guys, I'll see you on the next one. Farewell.